Nigel Farage, I think about 8 years ago, interviewing you, Clyde Broad's daybreak windows in front of a van. So here we are now, 8 years later. How far do you think you've come?
Astonishing. I mean, if you really take a couple of steps back and look at the long view, the big picture, for us to have arrived on the political scene and to have said to all the parties, to all the media, to all the big business vested interests that we wanted the country to take a 180-degree change of direction. I mean, it was laughable. It was considered laughable. And I mean, I was kind of, at about that time that we first met, I was kind of portrayed as being the patron saint of lost causes. I mean, this was never going to happen. And here we are, nearly a year on, from a referendum win, which in terms of this country's constitution is probably the most significant event since the English Civil War. I mean, and it wouldn't have happened without UKIP. So I think our achievements have been pretty astonishing, really.
Which brings us now, here we are in June, and you're here with Tim Aker. So what brings you to Thurrock, and what chances do you think Tim Aker, just beside you, has here in Thurrock?
Well, I mean, this obviously was big Brexit country last year. All of the reasons that people voted Brexit in Thurrock, none of them have changed. We've had a vote. It took the Prime Minister 9 months to trigger Article 50. We're now told perhaps our leaving could be wrapped up in a whole series of transitional arrangements. We've seen backtracking already on the European Court of Human Rights because we were told that we'd leave it. Oh, no, now we're going to stay. I haven't seen much for the Thames Estuary fishermen in the Conservative manifesto. So, the way that I would put this is that whilst we may have won a great war, we now have to win a peace. And sometimes achieving that part is even harder than winning the battle itself. And I genuinely do think, that unless there's a strong UKIP voice in this country, we will finish up with that cosy consensus that we smashed last year, re-establishing their authority and actually not giving us the Brexit that people went and voted for.
Is one of the problems, though, that you're very popular, look, there's lots of people behind us, but without you in UKIP, is it not?
I'm still in UKIP.
Okay, I know, but without day in, day out, with you there for UKIP, is it sometimes people feel that, without sounding too flippant, it's a bit like a tribute band?
Well, I don't think so. Not yet a while, anyway. Look, no, I mean, I am still leading a group in the European Parliament. I've got some new media things that I do. I've got a radio show that I do every day, other things that I do. Arguably, the public are seeing as much of me as they ever were. In fact, even just this week, apparently I could be investigated by the FBI. So I haven't exactly disappeared from view.
You take that as a compliment?
Oh, huge, absolutely. I mean, it's in America. There are many that can't get to grips with the fact that Trump won the election, just as the Blairs and Cleggs can't get to grips with the fact Brexit happened in this country, so they're looking for someone to blame. No, I'm not running it, but I'm still very much a part of it, which is why I'm here. And I hope that message, gets out to people in Thurrock and elsewhere, that I might not be the guy at the top of it anymore, but I'm still very much behind it.
Tim, how's things going?
It's going very well, a lot better than last time. A lot better than last time. The Thames crossing is a complete game changer in Thurrock. They've seen that Jackie Price last time said she stopped the crossing. Funny that, and I'm sure it's by pure coincidence that she had these emergency meetings with Theresa May during the election campaign, but still hasn't told anyone what the outcome of these talks were. They want an MP who's going to fight for Thurrock. John Kent's a good man, but it took them 2.5 weeks to select him, and I think he's been pushed into it. The fight's between me and Jackie, and when you put that binary choice to people, they're coming over to me.
So whether it's in Purfleet or Southwark and Aveley or here in Grays, what are there, apart, if we just put Brexit aside for a second, any other key issues you'd say that people are coming up to you?
Well, we were in the new estate on Aveley a few nights ago, and the yellow lines there were the big issue, and people coming over to us because of that local issue. And it could be any issue that we've got to grips with. It could be our campaign to keep the Grays high-rise. It could be, the campaigns we've done on the damp and mould in the borough. We've helped thousands of people here, and as you know, Thurrock is still a tight-knit community, and words gets round. You help someone in Tilbury, they tell someone in Ockenden, and so that network out there, by being accessible, visible, and here to help people, people want someone who's going to look out for them in Parliament.
Did you worry when you saw the county council election results, or do you still see Thurrock as slightly as a microclimate?
No, I didn't worry at all. And I've got to give a shout out to my mate Alan Hosker up in Burnley, Lancashire. And in the good years, we didn't win a single county council seat up in Lancashire. But he took the model we've done here. He's always out, he keeps knocking the doors, he keeps talking to people, he fixes the little things, and he won by a mile. Won by a mile. So if you put the yards in, you do the door knocking, you can actually insulate yourself from any sort of national picture, which is what we've done here. And next Thursday, Thurrock will have a new MP. Finally,
Nigel, where does UKIP, beyond June the 7th, where do you see UKIP going from there?
I think that depends to a very large extent on, and I'm assuming Mrs May's going to win. I mean, I know the polls have narrowed, but I think Mrs May is going to win. I suspect, you know, it'll be a majority of 40 seats or something like that. I mean, it won't be the landslide that it looked like. Strong and stable seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? I suspect that UKIP's fortunes will directly depend on how she does as Prime Minister during the Brexit negotiations. And all I can say is if she's as successful in dealing with Brexit as she was as Home Secretary in dealing with immigration and radicalisation and dealing with terrorism, which was completely hopeless, then I think you could see UKIP in 2 years' time even more relevant and even stronger than it ever was before.
Nigel Farage, Tim Aker, thank you very much.
Big Man Tyrone here. Make sure to subscribe to the wicked awesome Robin Hood UKIP YouTube website. He exposes the leftist crops on the British Brainwashing Corporation. Nice.